third step of our customer lifecycle is conversion. Conversion learning objectives. In this lesson, you will learn more about what is considered the most important outcome of any marketing activity, conversion. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define what is a conversion, discuss macro conversion and the metrics used for its measurement, discuss how marketing touchpoints play a crucial role in evaluating channel effectiveness, and explore conversion for various scenarios like non-e-commerce or subscription models. The top marketing strategies for conversion are remarketing, conversion rate optimization, and merchandising and personalization. Macro conversions. Macro conversions are clearly defined end goals that can actually impact the bottom line of your business. Some examples: conversions could be completing a purchase, generating a qualified lead, contacting you for support, or applying for a job. Those are measured with metrics like goals completions, transactions, revenue, average order value, and conversion rate. In short, the only end goal of any website is to create value along one of the ultimate goals we have seen earlier: increase revenue, reduce cost, increase satisfaction, which in turn will lead to profitability and long-term sustainability and survival. Of course, not every business is conducted online, but we should identify what is the closest indicator of conversion, always from a business standpoint. In this respect, subscribing to a mailing list or sharing on social media are usually considered to be micro conversions. They are too far away from the real desired business outcome. Whether your campaign leans toward brand marketing or direct response, it is very likely the user will have multiple touch points across multiple channels before actually converting. The role of marketing touchpoints in evaluating channel effectiveness. Assisted conversions. Assisted conversion is a concept that focused on touch points a customer goes through in the buying process. By default, the last touch point, the last click, will be credited for a conversion. This can obviously lead to an inflation of some channels to the detriment of others, obfuscating the fact that some marketing activities happen early on and were the ones that entice the user to come back again. Add cross-device to the equation, users using multiple devices like desktop, tablet, and mobile, and you end up with a complex mesh of channels and devices across any period of time. Looking at assisted conversion tells us if a given channel is most effective early in the process, doing brand awareness, or if it is the last touch point before conversion, the result of a direct response. In this example, we see display is most effective in assisting conversions, which shouldn't be a surprise since in this case, display was used for remarketing campaigns. On the other hand, paid search and social networks are most effective in bringing new traffic to the site. Now that we understand how certain channels assist conversion, we can look at the more sophisticated concept of attribution. Remember, we started with acquisition, then engagement. A campaign might be good at bringing new eyeballs on your website, but do they convert and generate value for your organization? Attribution is the science of assigning credit or allocating the value of a business outcome to the marketing touchpoint that a customer was exposed prior to their conversion. Ultimately, marketers want to understand the effectiveness of their campaigns. Bringing traffic to your website will only get you so far in your optimization process. Thus, we need to know which activities are more effective at converting. We have a good definition of attribution, but it can take many forms, as we see next. There are various attribution models. If you look at first interaction, it means your tactics are aimed more at awareness, upper funnel activities to attract new audiences. If you look at last interaction, it means your marketing tactics are focused on lower funnel activities, where maybe only a little incentive is required to convince the customer to make a conversion. Then there are variation. There's time decay. which is good when you want to customize based on your customer lifecycle duration. Position-based allows you to give more credit depending if they were early on in the process or later on in the process. Custom models are based on one of the default ones, but you can adjust the look back window, the number of days that you want to look back. You can adjust based on user engagement like time on site or page depth, or even apply complex rules of your own. Purists would say the only valid attribution model is one actually built from your data. Those solutions are typically fairly expensive in terms of investment, resources, and they also require more historical data. Solutions like Google Analytics 360 includes the possibility of creating data-driven models. Even with a data-driven model, attribution might seem closer to data exploration than merely picking one model and sticking with it. Let's see an example of that. With the help of the attribution model comparison tool, we can compare and contrast various attribution models and refine our marketing mix. This is what it looks like for a given e-commerce website. In this example, we are using first interaction and last non-direct click for e-commerce transactions, showing the conversion and value sorted by change in conversion value. We see that display is much more effective as a direct response channel than a brand awareness one. Conversely, paid search is slightly more effective as a brand awareness channel. Of course, we don't have to work at the abstract channel level. We could drill down into specific source and medium, campaigns, and many other dimensions to answer such questions as, is Google or Bing better to do a paid search campaign aiming to increase revenue? You can also create your own custom attribution model, while others only believe in data-driven attribution models. Like the shoemaker's children who sometimes go barefoot proverb goes, even the Google merchandise store might have issues with their attribution. Even for a pure play e-commerce website, there are many things to consider before you trust any attribution data. When you want to do attribution, you have to watch out for a number of challenges. Attributing return on investment of a specific touchpoint doesn't really reflect the customer lifetime value. Doing attribution also requires perfect marketing campaign taxonomy and tracking. Any failure will impact your attribution. It requires a way to identify the user as they use different devices or different browsers. The online to store transactions are more difficult to track. And the fact people use multiple screens and devices makes it even more difficult to track across digital and non-digital channels. We could say assisted is a quick, on-the-spot check, while attribution works at the campaign level and customer lifetime value would be at the customer level. The type of campaign also plays a role in how it affects attribution. Flighting versus continuity. Launching a quick, short campaign versus having a long-running campaign all the time. Do you want to run ads at a specific moment or run those ads at all time? Given the environment keeps changing, the user behavior, the technical tools, the competition is evolving, even your own website keeps changing. Some experts are now talking about attribution impossible. In the end, the reason you want to look at all this data is because you want to improve your media mix. Media mix modeling is the optimal combination of communication channels to meet marketing objectives. Media mix modeling answers the following questions. How much media is enough? When do you need to start advertising on a specific channel to a specific audience? Which medium is most effective? Is it better to use flighting or continuity? When are ads worn out? When do people don't pay attention to your ads? What is the best media environment to use? Conversion seems easier to track when it's an e-commerce site, but what about non-e-commerce or subscription-based models? Conversion scenarios. Not every site is a pure e-commerce one. The concepts for those are actually surprisingly similar. So let's look at an example of this nonprofit organization called Naître et Grandir. It doesn't sell anything and has no revenue source online, no ads, no sponsorship, no e-commerce. They simply offer high quality content and receive money from a fund created by a local media mogul. What do they do right? They do extensive segmentation of their audience based on the month of pregnancy or baby's age. They use a variety of channels including web, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Pinterest. They give a voice to their audience through polls, surveys, comments, and ratings. They track users instead of simply tracking sessions. They leverage their web analytics platform to truly measure user engagement. They use a marketing mix which caters to new and existing users across different channels. And the majority of their traffic is coming through mobile and tablets. And all of this doesn't cost millions of dollars. It only requires a willingness to adopt new marketing models and be creative. In this case, this site even uses e-commerce features to measure what they consider to be their product, their articles. Now let's look at subscription best practices. A business model where customers must pay a subscription price to gain access to a product or service is a subscription model. It was pioneered by magazines and newspapers. This is now widely used in the digital economy. Think of Netflix, Spotify, or software as a service in general, or consumable subscription like the Amazon One-Click, grocery, coffee, household products. The digital economy has enabled more subscription models. Your internet connection, your cell phone, listening to music on Spotify, and even in the physical world, getting a diversity of healthy food delivered at your doorstep by HelloFresh, for example. As we see, the 5 Ps are still very important, and the customer life cycle would probably be slightly different. Conversion becomes subscription, and the concept of retention is even more important now. Key takeaways. The key elements to remember from the conversion lifecycle stage are: the conversion step of your customer lifecycle is where they finally agree to do business with you. The macro conversion. Better make it an easy and delightful experience. Macro conversions are clearly defined end goals that can actually impact the bottom line of your business. Understanding the various touchpoints through assisted conversions path and attribution will help you adjust your marketing mix accordingly. Regardless of the business model, the fundamentals of digital marketing remains the same.